Everything starts with our protagonist sleeping peacefully until the sound of his cell phone wakes him up. Slowly, he opens his eyes, still a little drowsy and confused by the situation. Sitting up in bed, the young man wonders how he ended up in that hotel room. Looking to the side, he sees a woman and remembers having a long conversation with her last night. Suddenly, his cell phone rings with the name Jiaoji on the screen, and our hero remembers her well. Jiang Cheng picks up the device and sees a few messages from her, remembering that the girl had left him in college. Confused, the young man realizes she had blocked him but now acts as if they were still a couple. So he opens the calendar on his cell phone and notices that the date is marked as October 27th. With this, the protagonist is completely shocked and asks himself if he might have been reborn. A bad memory surfaces showing his ex-girlfriend with an older man, humiliating him in public. That memory hits him hard because he had promised to love her forever, but reality was harsh. Knowing her personality, our hero knows the girl just wanted an excuse to ask for money. He realizes how blinded he was by love, but now, with a new chance, he decides to act immediately. Jiang Cheng then sends a message ending the relationship, and the girl becomes furious with his attitude. Saying they are too different, the young man hears her agree to the breakup, telling him not to regret it. At that moment, a blue screen appears in front of him, congratulating him on activating the dream system. He is stunned by the wealthy system and happy to have been reborn with 2 advantages for the future. Soon after, a screen with his information appears, showing that he now earns money every second. His system presents him with a beginner's package, and the protagonist orders it opened right away. He gains 10 million yuan, a sports car, and a card, and the money is deposited into his account instantly. Jiang Cheng smiles, seeing the rewards, but wonders what that friendly scanner is. Looking at the woman in bed, he has the idea of testing the new ability on her to see what it does. With a simple touch, the young man activates the friendly scanner in the direction of the sleeping girl. Then a screen appears with her information, and the protagonist wonders what the privacy value is. Tap in the option. The system explains that this value refers to the number of people she has been intimate with. He realizes that the value of 1 means he was her first man and is shocked by the discovery. A memory comes up, showing him trying to call his ex, but she hung up the phone. Our hero remembers going to the bar to get drunk and finding Yu Xiaoxiao there drinking alone. Assuming she was just drunk, the young man thinks she did not fall in love with him since the friendship level was low. Right then, the girl wakes up and stares at him, somewhat confused by the situation they are in. She asks if he was thinking about the past, and the young man just sighs with a bitter smile. Jiang Cheng approaches and says he wasn't thinking about the past, and the young woman questions what he was talking about. He replies that he regretted not having met her sooner, and invites her to test whether he was telling the truth. All of a sudden, the system appears and gives him a reward and a new ability called Quick Wit. Surprised, the protagonist thinks that with this new ability, their night would be even better. Next, he uses his new technique and kisses her intensely while a skill log appears on the screen. Shocked by his ability, the girl comments that the kiss was totally different than before. With a smile on his face, the young man announces that this was only the beginning of their night. Following that brief conversation, the couple returns to enjoying themselves in bed, taking advantage of the night. The next morning, Jiang Cheng wakes up, stretching with a pile of money next to him in bed. Our hero is confused by the money and thinks Yu Xiaoxiao must have mistaken him for a paid companion. Picking up a note left by her, he finds the girl interesting for having paid for his first time. While getting dressed, the young man regrets not having gotten the young woman's contact information before she left. Focusing on the critical hit card, he hears the system explain that the item multiplies the money spent. Now reborn with a system, the protagonist decides he will become a world-famous wealthy man. Realizing he is in a good time for investing, the young man plans to gather capital to buy stocks. With a smile, he thinks that these large companies will be the starting point for his ambitions. Holding the car key, he remembers that he can manipulate the real estate market because he doesn't need loans. He approaches his new car, thinking that his cards are perfect for buying a house. Upon arriving there, a woman is sitting on the hood and asks if that luxury car belongs to him. Our hero confirms that the car is his and asks the young woman what she wants with him. Asking for a ride, the woman says a pipe burst at her house, which is why she is in a hurry. Jiang Cheng then uses the friendly scanner on her and sees that her privacy value is 28. This young man finds her proactive attitude and the friendship value of 90 quite suspicious. Getting into the car, he says he doesn't want to get involved with the other 28 people she has already been with. Soon after, the protagonist speeds up the car and drives away, leaving the girl behind in the dust. Completely shocked, the young woman wonders how that guy knew about her 28 boyfriends. She is still frustrated about being rejected by such a handsome guy and doesn't understand what happened. An elderly man then approaches and offers to fix her pipe, introducing himself as a plumber. Annoyed, the woman calls the poor old man disgusting, feeling offended by the offer. Angrily sending him away with disgust, the woman watches people nearby start laughing at the poor man. Then a guy explains to the old man that her pipe problem was actually something else. Wishing him good luck, the man watches as the plumber observes the young woman leave, upset with the situation. Angrily, the girl complains about her terrible day while adjusting her shoe to continue walking. Meanwhile, our protagonist arrives at a real estate agency where 2 brokers await him at the door. Thinking he is a playboy with his father's car, the older broker tells the novice to attend to him. Jiang Cheng gets out of his yellow sports car with a confident air, ready to do business. Although the novice seems nervous, the man tells her to follow the procedure they have already practiced. The young woman, named She, then introduces herself and welcomes our hero, asking how she can help. Asking to see some properties, the young man hears her ask about his budget and preferences. From afar, the other broker smokes, thinking the girl needs to learn to screen clients better. Showing cheap options, the broker is told by him to skip those and go straight to the 1 million ones. She is surprised by the amount but quickly agrees to look for properties in that price range. Soon after, she remembers to ask about the preferred area and feels a little embarrassed. He asks for locations that are easy to rent with basic renovations and notices that the girl is quite inexperienced. Scanning her, the protagonist sees that she is 19 years old and has never had partners, finding her life difficult. This broker then shows properties with prices ranging from 300,000 to over 1 million. Jiang Cheng remembers that his beginner's card has a limit of 1 million and cannot exceed that. He calculates that buying cheaper properties would not be advantageous, even with the system's multiplication. So he asks if she can negotiate 5 properties for 1 million each, and he would pay for everything in cash. Completely shocked, the broker asks if the payment will really be all in cash. Smiling, the protagonist confirms and even says he will hire her to manage the rentals. With hearts in her eyes, the young woman is filled with joy and guarantees she will close that deal. Peeking through the door, the other broker regrets having misjudged the young man and dismissed the client. Soon after, the real estate manager appears with the contracts and informs him that the commission is 2%. Jiang Cheng signs the papers right away and says he trusts Xia for future negotiations. Radiant, the girl thinks about her commission and wonders what kind of man he is to spend so much. As soon as the purchase is finalized, the system activates the cards and his money multiplies absurdly. With this, our hero levels up and his system becomes stronger, generating even more cash per second. He realizes how different his life is with the system and decides he will splurge a little to celebrate. Approaching Xia, the young man asks her to talk for a moment, making the young woman curious. Her colleague interjects and tells the girl to take the client to dinner and build a good relationship. Jiang Cheng then tells the young woman to stay with him because this won't be the last time they do business. Speechless and completely embarrassed, the broker reacts to the young man's unexpected proposal. Seeing the confusion, he explains that he wasn't asking her out and just wanted her account number. Surprised, the young woman asks why he would make a transfer to her account. Claiming she was his lucky star, the protagonist says he wanted to thank her and see her again. She still doesn't understand what Mr. Jiang meant by all that talk. Suddenly, she receives a transfer notification for the amount of 35,000 yuan and is stunned. Thinking he made 200 million, the young man figures giving her 35,000 was quite reasonable. Already, the broker shows her QR code and offers to pay for a thank you dinner. Noting her friendship level has risen to 80, the protagonist thinks about how powerful money is. Exchanging contacts, the young woman notices that Mijiang is actually a very handsome guy. In her thoughts, the girl considers that if he wanted something more, perhaps she would accept the proposal. But Jiang Cheng just says goodbye, telling her she worked hard and that they will see each other next time. Confused by his attitude, the broker runs out, trying to catch up with him before he leaves. Our hero, however, is already inside his car and just waves to her with a smile on his face. 20 minutes later, the young man arrives at his house and opens the door to his old room. His mother greets him with watermelon, and his father asks about the graduation trip he was planning. Saying he is thinking of going to Modu, the young man explains he wants to check out the area of the college he will attend. His father agrees with the idea and says he will ask his mother to transfer the travel money. Joking, the lady says he spoils his son too much, and so the boy will have difficulty finding a wife. Jiang Cheng asks her not to bring up that subject and promises that he won't disappoint them this time. The next day, our hero is on the plane, complaining about the cramped economy class seat. Accidentally, he bumps into the person sitting next to him in the aisle seat. He apologizes politely while trying to pass the passenger to reach his place. To his surprise, the young woman recognizes him as Jiang Cheng and reveals herself as an old acquaintance. Confirming that that is his seat, the young man hears her say that coincidentally it is her place too. Thanking him, the girl passes him to sit in the middle seat of the row. Suddenly, another guy appears, saying that his seat is also there, and approaches the young woman. Jiang Cheng then suggests that Zhou Ying take the window seat so they can be more comfortable. Complaining right away, the other guy says that you can't just switch seats on the plane. With a smile, our hero says they are together, and the seating arrangement is none of his business. Already seated, the busybody asks what the young woman is going to do in Modu, and she replies that it's for work. The young woman then turns to the protagonist and questions him about the reason for his trip to the city. He says he was bored at home and decided to travel a bit to distract himself and clear his head. Introducing himself as Chuan Shen, the guy with glasses says he is also going to Modu on a trip. He warns the young woman about tourist traps and offers to give her a ride from the airport. Our hero cuts him off, saying that his hotel has a pickup service and he doesn't need to bother. Chuan Shen then asks which hotel he booked, and the protagonist replies that it is the Emini Engine. Shocked to hear the name, the guy knows that is a luxury hotel that cost billions to build. He says the room he stayed in there didn't have pickup, but Jiang Cheng reveals he booked an entire villa. Dotting the story, the guy with glasses asks if he is sure about what he is saying about the villa. Commenting that the villa cost 80,000 per night, the girl says she never imagined he was a rich guy. Our hero then replies with a smile, saying that she also isn't a rich girl by chance. A memory emerges, showing that the young woman was well known at school for going to class in a Rolls Royce. She was the darling of the heavens and guys felt insecure around her, so no one approached her. Our protagonist remembers not paying attention to her because he was focused on his ex and heard about her family's problems. Back in the present, the young woman looks a little sad and says that nowadays she is hardly a rich girl. Realizing he said the wrong thing, the young man quickly thinks of changing the subject to break the ice. And so the two started talking about the old school days throughout the trip. Laughing a little, the young woman says that their school was indeed a very fun place to be. He then uses the scanner and sees that her friendship level has risen to 75, which is a good sign. Wondering if she wasn't already paying attention to him back in high school, the young man considers the possibility. Time flies by and soon they arrive at Modu Airport, ready for the trip. A well-dressed woman is waiting for him with a sign and introduces herself as his private butler. His colleague is then asked by the protagonist where she will be staying in the city. He offers her a ride and asks the butler to take her to Pudong first. From afar, the guy with glasses thinks our hero is a show-off and wants to save the girl from him. 25 minutes later, the young woman thanks him for the ride and invites him to eat sometime. Agreeing, the young man hears her thank him once again for all the help he gave today. With that, the two exchange contacts and say goodbye, promising to meet again soon. Watching the girl leave, the guy with glasses is shocked that he let her go so easily. Half an hour later, our hero arrives at his luxury villa and thinks the place was worth every penny. His butler then appears and informs him this bath is ready and waiting for him. Suddenly, she grabs him from behind, and the young man is surprised, asking if that is part of the service. The butler says that helping him undress is included, but the lower part is up to him. Entering the hot water, the protagonist sees the butler approaching with something in her hand. She then explains that scrubbing his back is also part of the luxury hotel service. As she helps him, he finds the sensation incredible and thinks how nice a special service would be. Feeling a connection with him, the butler says she only does it as she approaches him in the water. She then asks if the water is too hot because he looks warm and moves even closer. All read, the protagonist questions what on earth he is thinking at that moment. 5 minutes later, she invites him to a super VIP reception that will feature a jewelry auction. Our hero asks about the dress code and she says it is a casual event with no rules. Upon arriving there, the butler introduces him as the guest in the villa with the titanium card. With a smile on her face, the woman wished Mr. Jiang a wonderful night at the event. Entering the hall, the young man realizes that the auction has already begun and the place seems quite lively. The next item is a limited edition watch with a starting bid of 15 million yuan. With an excited shout, the auctioneer opens the bidding for the super rare luxury watch. He knows that the price of that item will soar to 25 million in just a few years. Seeing the easy profit, he raises his paddle and makes the first bid of 15.5 million. Another guy bids 16 million, and the dispute over the watch begins to heat up. People are shocked by the 18 million bid and wonder who bidder 35 is. Bangs the gavel, the auctioneer sells the watch for 18 million to our protagonist. Two wealthy men from Modu then approach, and our hero introduces himself as Jiang Cheng. The blonde says the other bidder was his friend and asks if the young man is a watch expert. He replies that he is not an expert and that he has never bought one before, it being his first time. Surprised by the amount, the wealthy man hears the young man explain that he arrived in Modu yesterday for university. Shocked, the blonde guy says that at 18 years old, he would never have the courage to make a move like that. His blonde young man friend then invites him to hang out together sometime, and the protagonist just agrees. After saying goodbye, the system congratulates him on leveling up, and his annual salary hits the 900 million mark. He thinks that for a normal person, this is a lot, but for his plans, it's just a drop in the ocean. Suddenly, our hero spots a familiar figure and recognizes the girl from the night at the hotel. Recognizing him too, the young woman with a smile on her face approaches our protagonist. She remembers being paid to spend the night with him, and that it was a wonderful night. Inviting her to join him, the young man sees the woman accept the proposal, saying he needs to try harder. Right then, her ex Frankie appears and tells her to stop what she is doing in front of everyone. Telling him to mind his own business, the girl hears him remind her that they are still engaged. She gets angry and says the guy has no shame talking about marriage after everything that happened. Irrelevant, the man replies, claiming the final decision to marry is his end of story. With disgust, the young woman says he only uses her as a fat guide to find his toys around. Then the system appears and gives our hero two options to solve that annoying situation. He gets annoyed with the first option and asks the system if he looks like someone who is cheated on. Explaining the system, he learns that physical enhancement includes all body attributes without exception. With an evil smile, the protagonist steps forward and punches the girl's ex-fiancé in the face. He says he hates these experimenters and that they are a flaw in a nation's moral character. Stepping on the fallen man, the young man is watched by the girl with admiration, and her friendship level rises. Screaming for help, the ex-fiancé calls the event's security guards to arrest him. Security guards grab him, and the man shouts that he will call the police and sue everyone. Telling him not to worry, the young woman says she will claim he was defending her from harassment. Shouting that the hotel has cameras, the ex-fiancé threatens to use the footage to get revenge on everyone. Suddenly, an armed man appears in the hall and starts threatening the guests, who scream in terror. Grabbing the ex-fiancé, the lunatic demands they bring the traitorous couple, or he will take out everyone there. Terrified, the young man tells the others to find the people the criminal is looking for at the party. Then the system appears with a special event and 2 options for our hero to deal with the situation. The young man thinks that to prevent the crime, saving the jerk Jong-yu would be necessary, which he doesn't want to do. But for everyone's safety and the divine technique, he decides he needs to act immediately. Before acting, the protagonist remembers an item the system gave him and decides to use it now. A blue aura surrounds him as the enhancement multiplier card is activated in the system. With this, he feels a wave of power flowing through every part of his body, making him stronger. With his face covered by a mask, the young man runs at high speed toward the aggressor. Then, with a single accurate punch, he hits the bandit squarely in the face, who doesn't see the blow. After knocking down the criminal, our hero stops in the middle of the hall while everyone looks on in shock. Open mouth, the young woman realizes he is not just a wealthy man but also a true beast. Also stunned by the young man's strength, the ex-fiancé stares at him with an expression of fear. With the aggressor already on the ground, the protagonist approaches and holds his arm to immobilize him. Guests are impressed by his bravery and comment on how handsome he is and how quickly he defeated him. Police arrive, and an officer thanks our hero for his help while they take the bandit into custody. But the ex-fiancé accuses him of assault, and the police officer asks the young man if it's true that he assaulted him. His young woman friend then defends him, saying that the ex-fiancé was trying to trick her into marrying him. Our hero realizes that her friendship level has risen to 90 and that she is now completely into him. Hugging her, the protagonist tells her not to worry because he won't let that jerk bother her. The officer says it was all a misunderstanding, but the ex-fiancé insists on seeing the recordings. Angry at both of them, the young man decides to use the system's bad luck card on the girl's ex-fiancé. An aura of bad luck surrounds the man as the system's card is activated and takes effect on him. His cell phone rings with a bank fraud alert informing him that $200,000 was withdrawn. Soon after, he receives another call warning him that a tree fell on his car. Although the police officer tries to talk to him, the young man runs off, saying he doesn't have time for nonsense. With a victorious smile, our hero says he reaped what he sowed and calls the young woman to leave. 5 minutes later, she asks if he got hurt and examines him, worried about his well-being. Smiling, the young man says that a loser like that would never be able to truly hurt him. She insists on checking for safety and approaches to see if he has any scratches. Asking if he looks down on her for having that fiancé, the young woman hears him say he was just surprised by the situation. She explains that the engagement was arranged by her sick grandfather, and that she discovered his cheating later. He hugs her to comfort her when the girl asks if he cares about their relationship. She thinks he was her first man and that this type of relationship is easier than dating. Our hero says he doesn't mind and promises that he will treat her well from now on. With a shy smile, the young woman snuggles into his arms and the two kiss passionately. The next morning, 2 maids clean the room and comment on the mess they made. One of the maids comments that her husband is not so manly, and the other says with envy that the couple's night was very busy. Sometime later, our hero and the blonde young woman are in a restaurant while he looks at his cell phone. He sees a post from someone showing an expensive watch they received as a gift from their mother. With a smile, he asks if he can borrow her legs for an anniversary photo. Asking if it's his birthday, the young woman hears him explain that he just wants to post a gift like everyone else. She then agrees to the joke and lifts her legs on the table, striking a very bold pose. Next, the young woman takes off her high-heeled shoes to make the photo even more interesting. With one of her feet, she holds a napkin, and the young man prepares to take her photos. He takes the photos, thinking that his gift is faster than any luxury supercar. Then he creates a collage with the best photos he took to post on social media. Immediately, the post goes viral, and several guys are very envious of his gift. Afterward, our hero goes to a luxury dealership to check out the cars. An employee takes him to see the available models in the car store's showroom. Nearby, an older man offers a car to a redhead, but she seems reluctant. Insisting, the man says he will pick her up from work, but she tries to make an excuse. Overhearing the conversation, the protagonist recognizes the young woman as a future very famous actress. He remembers that the girl became famous for a photo coming out of the pool and became a star. Back in the present, the boss pressures her to accept the car, but she refuses the offer. Getting furious, the man threatens her, saying that if she doesn't go with him, her career will end. But the redhead is unfazed and says her answer is the same, and he can do whatever he wants. Suddenly, the system appears and gives our hero a special mission to complete. The mission is to help the redhead, getting her to sign a contract to earn a reward. Approaching the saleswoman, the young man asks about the conditions for buying a LaFerrari. Explaining that it is a limited model, the young woman says he needs to be an old customer to buy the car. With a slight smile, the protagonist asks if that means he cannot buy the vehicle. Thinking for a moment, the saleswoman says it's not impossible to get the car he wants. She explains that some orders are cancelled and he can pay the total price to jump the line. Shocked, the employee wonders if he knows how much that luxury car costs. The redhead also doubts it because even her boss would think twice before spending that much. Informing him, the saleswoman says the personalized car costs between 40 and 50 million yuan. Our hero says he knows the price and that he agrees to pay the total price for the car he wants. Then the wealthy man from the auction appears with the manager and is surprised to see it was his friend. Explaining, the young man says he arrived in Shanghai without a car and resolved to buy one to get around. His friend laughs and says that this is the biggest display of wealth disguised as humility he has ever seen. Then he introduces him to the manager and shows the 18 million watch the young man bought. With a confident smile, the protagonist displays his expensive watch to impress the manager. Stunned by the price of the watch, the manager realizes that the young man is filthy rich. He then says that capital verification is not necessary and that he will register the purchase. The redhead's boss is shocked by the young man's wealth, and his friend estimates his net worth. Giving up on buying the car, the man then tells the redhead to go drink with him to make him happy. Shocked by her attitude, the man leaves, annoyed with the situation in the store. Our hero calls out to the young woman, and she turns around, surprised that he is talking to her there. Introducing himself as Jiang Cheng, the young man offers to invest in her instead of the other guy. Shocked by the offer, the redhead thinks he is richer and would be better than the other one. She accepts right away, but he says he needs to resolve other things, and they will talk about the investment tomorrow. They then exchange contacts and agree to meet the next day to close the deal. The protagonist asks the manager when he can get his car, and he says it will take 1 year. Disappointed by the delay, the young man is invited by his friend to an auto show. A few days later, he arrives at the hotel to meet the blonde, who is anxiously waiting for him. This young woman takes him to try the crab roll rice, which is the specialty of the place. Several delicious dishes are served on the table, but the young man looks at her with a mischievous smile. He says he only wants to keep her, and the young woman turns all red from the young man's bold flirtation. She asks to rest a little because last night was very tiring for both of them. Our hero agrees but asks her to call him by a more affectionate name next time. Calling him darling, the girl receives permission to rest a little longer because of that. He then asks if she knows Su Wan, and the blonde says she is an artist at her company. The blonde then asks if the young man happens to like the redhead and looks at him seriously. He replies that he doesn't like her and that it was just a casual meeting and asks about her potential. The blonde says that the company doesn't pay attention to the redhead, but she has good conditions to grow. She says the company doesn't pay enough attention to her, and she has good conditions and development potential. Offering her help with the redhead, the young woman says she doesn't care about his other affairs. He comforts her by saying he will treat her well no matter what happens between them in the future. The young man confirms that he wants to sign with the redhead, but the blonde warns him about the contract breach penalty. He tells her not to worry about money and that he will leave the company for her to manage. Refusing the shares, the young woman says that at most she accepts a high salary to take care of the business. Calling her silly, the protagonist says there doesn't need to be so much distance between the two of them. The girl then approaches, caressing his face with her gloved hand delicately. With tears in her eyes, she says she feels the joy of liking someone and that her life was meaningless. Her cell phone starts ringing, but she ignores the call and continues hugging the young man. With a mischievous smile, he looks at her and waits for her to confirm the business meeting. The next day, he picks her up in his sports car, and the redhead greets him with a good afternoon. Asking where they are going, the young woman hears him reply that it's to the Bayou Hotel in Lujiazui. She asks if the drama he wants to film is a big investment, and he laughs at her question. Asking what kind of drama can be made with only 5 million, the young man loses interest. Explaining that it is a small production with a quick return, the redhead invites him to read the script. He says he only invests and doesn't need to read anything, leaving the girl surprised by his attitude. Our hero offers to transfer the money right away, but she says it's not necessary. He then imposes the condition that she work as an artist in his new talent company. Knowing that you don't compliment someone without reason, the redhead thinks about his ulterior motives. She asks if he has an entertainment company, and he replies that he will have one soon. He promises that the company will focus on her in the coming years and pay the contract penalty. The young woman asks if he has any special requirements, and he thinks she will refuse the proposal. Saying he won't ask for anything embarrassing unless it's with the head of the company, the young man reassures her. She accepts the offer right away and asks when she will sign and if she can call him boss. He suggests she call him brother, and she asks how old he is to be so bold. Questioning him about his age, the redhead hears him say he thought she was talking about something else. With a mischievous smile, he looks at her, and the young woman calls him a naughty and shameless boss. She then says that the meal is on her, and that she will dedicate herself to being a good investment. His system congratulates him on the mission and rewards him with shares in an investment company. He decides to call his parents to tell them the news and explain how he got rich so suddenly. His father praises him for his good eye for business, and he says the monthly profit is 600,000. Old man Jiang is proud, and his mother jokes that he was bragging about his son to his friends. Asking if they want gifts, the young man hears his father advise him not to be arrogant and to be patient. After the call, he invites the redhead for a trip to the mall because he didn't bring anything. Wiping her mouth, the young woman accepts the invitation to go shopping with her new boss. They arrive at a luxury watch store, and the redhead is shocked by the high prices. Suddenly, a woman with an older man approaches and greets him as Senior Lin Ru. This young woman asks if he also came to see the watches, and the redhead thinks it's too early to call him boss. Scanning the woman, the protagonist discovers that she has a strange status and low friendship level. He explains that he only came to accompany a friend to the store to look at the watches. He is shocked to see that the man has 77 people with similar interests to him. Explaining that the redhead was her servant in a drama, the young woman introduces the man as an investor. His name is Wang Hai, and he offers his card to the redhead in case she wants to make a movie. Thinking with disdain, the other actress believes the redhead can only choose watches for the boss and then go out with him. The redhead thinks about the harsh reality of the industry and how false friends only want to take advantage. Asking if he has any special goal, the young man hears him say he is just looking around. Informing him, the salesman says the most popular models are sold out and only available by order in the queue. Our hero then asks for women's watches starting from 500,000 and dismisses the cheaper ones. Shocked by his audacity, the couple sees the woman get annoyed by him calling the watch cheap. Pretending to read a magazine, the redhead is amused to see the arrogant actress being ridiculed. Suddenly, the system gives him a random mission to gift the redhead with a watch. Offering a watch to the young woman, the protagonist hears her refuse and say she will buy one with her own money. Another actress thinks they are putting on a show and that they are only looking at the watches but not buying. The salesman then brings some models, helping him try one on that shines on his wrist. Praising the appearance of the watch, the man sees the young man turn to the redhead to ask for her opinion. He comments that the watch is a little loose, and the young woman offers to tighten the strap. Turning all red from the young man's double entendre, the redhead feels provoked by him. She thinks he provoked her twice in half a day, and her friendship level rises to 70. The protagonist then tells the salesman to wrap up both watches, leaving everyone in the store shocked. He tells the store manager to wrap up both models so they can be taken. Shocked, the salesman asks if he is really going to take both watches from the display case. Also stunned, the other couple doubts that he is so extravagant and serious. Next, the protagonist asks the redhead for help choosing a watch as a gift for his mother. Praising her choice, the salesman says the watch has diamonds and is at a great price. The young man then asks the redhead to try on the watch so he can see how it looks on her wrist. He says that watch is better than the other cheaper one, and the actress gets irritated by the comment. With a smile, he tells the salesman to wrap up the 4 watches and hands over his card to pay. When the redhead goes to take off the watch, he stops her and says it's a gift for her to keep. Refusing, the young woman says it is too expensive and that she cannot accept such a valuable gift. He reassures her, saying it's just a little something, and that there's no way to return it because it's already paid for. Our hero says they will be colleagues soon and that the watch is a welcome gift. With a serious look, he asks if she is going to refuse the present and not give him that honor. Thinking it would be disrespectful to refuse, the redhead accepts the gift, thanking her rich boss. The salesman hands over the receipt of more than 4 million, and an employee gives him a special gift. Another actress is envious that the redhead has a better watch than hers, even though she is less famous. She asks about the free gifts, and the manager says she is not entitled to any and apologizes. Irritated that the mood has been ruined, the man leaves, leaving the actress behind. Feeling awkward, the young woman says they will talk about the watch another time. His system then congratulates him on the mission and rewards him with a cashback of up to 3 times. He tells the system to draw the prize and wins a triple reward of more than 13 million. He then asks what kind of bag she likes, but the redhead refuses the gift, embarrassed. Showing 2 popular models, the saleswoman hears him tell her to swipe the card without even thinking. With a side smile, the protagonist gestures for the saleswoman to swipe his credit card. Informing him that the purchase was 120,000, the young woman says he is now a member of the store. Impressed by the boss's power and willingness to spend so much money on her, the redhead looks on. Half an hour later, he drops her off at home, and she thanks him for the presents and invites him in. Joking about drinking water, the young man hears her say it can be anything he wants to drink. He declines the invitation, saying he needs to protect himself from girls who take advantage of drunk men. Our hero says goodbye, and the young woman watches him leave, laden with shopping bags. She thinks he is a good man, and her friendship level rises to 80 on the system's scale. Dreaming about the young man, the redhead thinks that if she works hard, she can go further with him. In the car, the protagonist smiles confidently and thinks that the big prize will be his sooner or later. Back at the hotel, the butler receives him, and he asks her to open the champagne while he swims. Thinking it is rare for a client to stay an entire week, the woman believes she needs to serve him well. In the pool, he asks if there are special and expensive dishes on the luxury hotel's menu. His butler says they offer various high-quality cuisines for guests. She mentions the yellow croaker and the white alba truffle as the rarest specialties. Remembering that these dishes cost millions, the young man knows the discount card will be very useful. Getting out of the water, he asks the butler for a massage, and she approaches with a towel. Agreeing to the request, the woman says that if he wants the massage, it needs to be in the room. In the room, the butler begins the massage with essential oils on our protagonist's back. She gets on top of him and starts the massage in a very professional and relaxing way. She pours a little oil on her hand and prepares to start the hotel's special service. Surprised, the young man thinks it would only be a simple massage and not with oils. His butler tells him to close his eyes and enjoy the spay, which is a specialty of the place. Then she begins the massage with smooth and precise movements on our hero's back. Lying on his stomach, he relaxes completely while the woman continues with the massage. The butler then reveals that there is also a special service for the most VIP guests. She then offers the service, and the young man turns all red and wonders if he is overthinking things. Saying goodbye, the woman offers to pick him up for the auto show the next day. Our hero then realizes that there was no special service and that he only thought nonsense. The next day, he arrives at the event and sees several luxury cars and models posing for photos. His friend couldn't come, but the young man doesn't mind and finds the prices of the cars low. He finds the most expensive car at $2,200,000 very cheap and continues walking. Suddenly, he spots some classmates and wonders what they are doing there. He then sees his old colleague Zhou Ying posing as a car model and understands everything. Stunning in a red dress, the young woman draws the attention of all the photographers. One of the colleagues invites her out, but another reprimands him for bothering her at work. Hearing the conversation, the girl remains silent but seems a little uncomfortable with the situation. Finding it a coincidence to meet so many colleagues, the protagonist is recognized by one of them in the crowd. The protagonist asks if they are organizing some secret event without him knowing anything. Awkwardly, the colleague admits he didn't invite him on the graduation trip on purpose. Another young man points to the group leader and says that he needs to ask him directly. A girl approaches and comments on how much more handsome he has become since the last time they saw each other. His friend jokes that his voice has also improved and asks if he tuned his vocal cords. The young woman says they came to see the beautiful model and not to buy a car because they don't have the money. Scanning the girl, the young man is shocked to see that her privacy value is 30. He also scans the other friend and is surprised by her high friendship level. Our hero wonders why her friendship level is so high if they barely know each other. His friend asks what he is doing, and the protagonist just tells him to take care of himself. With a smile, he waves to the model and compliments her beauty, making her a little awkward. Asking if he came to the show, the young woman hears him say yes, and that it's good to take a look around. He then asks if the colleagues are planning to buy a car since they are around the goddess. Bragging about knowing the car, the group leader explains the specifications and the price. The green-haired young man praises him for knowing so much about cars and calls him the class monitor. Accusing him of being there to buy the car, the colleague watches our hero not respond to the provocation. Asking them to talk later, the model requests they not make noise at her workplace. Bragging about his score, the monitor says he will buy a car if she finds a suitable one. Saying she doesn't understand cars, the young woman suggests he ask the sales assistant. Interfering, the protagonist then asks if he buys the car, the model comes as a bonus. Laughing, the model says he is very funny, but the colleague tells him to stop showing off. Suddenly, the model's boss appears and reprimands her for talking during work. Apologizing, the young woman watches as the boss walks away, leaving a tense atmosphere between them. Accusing him of targeting him, the monitor asks which car he is going to buy after looking around so much. The young man says the car has an average price, but with the model next to it, it looks very elegant. Recognizing the expensive watch on his wrist, the boss offers a gift with the purchase of the car. With a side smile, he shows his credit card and says to pay the full amount. Shocked, the colleagues learn that the car costs more than $8 million with the configuration. The girl with pigtails wonders if he really can pay $8 million all at once. Accusing him of faking it, the monitor advises him not to make the model lose her job. The protagonist then asks if buying the car would harm the young woman in any way. Confirming, the boss says that if he buys the car, the commission from the sale will go to the model. With the news, her friendship level rises to 80, and she asks if he is taking the model along. Getting irritated, the colleague thinks he is provoking the girl and that he won't buy the car. Our hero then asks to pay the total amount and asks if the car is ready to take. The transaction is successfully concluded and the boss invites him to the VIP room to finalize. Congratulating him on the purchase, the boss asks the model to treat the new customer well. Shocked, the monitor sees that he actually spent $8 million on a luxury car. His friend comments that he never imagined he was a second-generation rich kid. The girl with glasses then says the car only has 2 seats and there won't be room for her. The girl with pigtails says she should sit in the passenger seat and that the model is working. Our hero is impressed with the girl and wonders why her friendship level increased. He then says the car only looks good when the model is sitting in it and stares at her. The colleague asks if he broke up with his ex because of the model, and he looks at her sideways. Surprised to learn that he broke up with his girlfriend, the model observes him with curiosity. The protagonist says the breakup has nothing to do with anyone, and that any man would like her. His friend is shocked to see the more than 1 million watch on the young man's wrist. Explaining, the young man says his family gifted it to him for doing well on the college exam. Grumbling that it's getting late, the monitor says they need to find a place for dinner. One of the girls invites him to have dinner with them and then go shopping at the mall. He declines the invitation, saying he has an engagement and that they will meet when he returns. The colleague asks him to get in touch when he returns to Chengdu, and he says goodbye. Our hero tells the model to go back to work and that he will look somewhere else. With a smile, he says there's no need for formalities and that they will arrange something another time. A saleswoman shows a pink car customized for female customers with various features. He thinks the car is perfect for Xiao and imagines kissing her inside it. Asking the price of the car, the young man hears the saleswoman say it costs 9.5 million. He tells her to swipe the card right away, and the saleswoman is all excited about the sale. The protagonist also asks for a car delivery ceremony, and she agrees without problems. He says it's a gift and asks her to deliver it as soon as possible to her address. A streamer is a live broadcast showing the pink car and inviting her followers to buy it. The young woman tries to convince the viewers that the car is a great gift for a girl. She then approaches our hero and invites him for a live interview about the car. An employee interrupts her and asks if she is there to buy or just look at the car. Saying she just wants to take a look, the streamer is then asked for a capital verification by the saleswoman. Complaining, the young woman says she saw the other young man enter without needing verification and feels unfairly treated. Unable to prove her income, the streamer feels awkward and the viewers mock her. Shocked, the model sees that he spent 20 million in less than half an hour. She thinks that even before her family's problems, she couldn't splurge money like that. 2 hours later, the young man stretches and says the car is already on its way to his beloved. Handing over the keys, the manager asks how he plans to apply for the license plate. Suddenly, the system appears and gives him a randomly drawn personalized license plate. With a side smile, the protagonist finds the system very thoughtful with the details. An employee approaches with the plate and says he will help him with the vehicle registration. Stunned, the manager sees that the license plate has the initials of the young man's name and is from Shanghai. Our hero says it is nothing special and that he just reserved the car in advance. Admiring him for his luck, the manager praises the license plate for its special and unique meaning. An employee then warns that the license plate installation has been completed and the car is ready. Impressed by his power, the manager thinks he is related to someone important. Now that the installation of the license plate is ready, the gleaming red car belongs to the protagonist. The model thanks him for his help and approaches to talk a little more with the young man. She invites him to dinner, but his cell phone begins to ring and he asks for a moment. With a side smile, he answers the call and waits for the person on the other end of the line to speak. It's his friend crying and asking for him to go meet him or he will jump into the river. Our hero is shocked by the news and the model looks at him, worried about the situation. He apologizes to the young woman and explains that his friend broke up with someone and needs help. Saying he is not sure, the young man explains he needs to go there to see what is happening. He then finds his friend in a bar, and the young man tells him to stop the nonsense and drink with him. Confiding in him, the colleague says he feels like a fool and that the girl treats him as a second option. He counts that the girl ignores him, but when the other guy went to the bathroom, she followed him. The protagonist asks him to get straight to the point, and the friend continues with his sad confession. The young man says he followed them and saw them kissing and hugging, and that is why he is heartbroken. Our hero consoles him, and the friend complains that he doesn't take his feelings seriously. Advising him, the protagonist tells him to let the girl go because she is not a good person. He explains that her private life is a mess and that he had tried to warn him. The friend then toasts with him and says his brain must have been squeezed by a door. An hour later, our hero puts him in a taxi, and the friend promises to return the favor. Alone on the street, the protagonist takes out his cell phone and calls a private driver to take him. Suddenly, a young woman tells him to move away from the car and says he cannot afford to damage it. Scanning the woman, the young man sees that she has a passerby status and low friendship with him. She apologizes, saying she is drunk, and confuses him with her boyfriend because of the appearance. Complimenting his voice, the young woman says that he must be good at driving a supercar with one hand. She offers to play with him and says that she knows more than 10 ways to have fun. Our hero refuses the offer and says that he only plays King of Glory games and nothing more. Suddenly, the pink-haired streamer appears and reveals herself as the driver he called. She introduces herself, and the live viewers are surprised to see the handsome young man with her. The protagonist then says she needs to pay to take a picture of him, and looks at her. Apologizing, the young woman explains that she forgot to turn the camera the other way. She asks to take a picture of the car, and he agrees, unconcerned with the situation. Excited to see the car, the streamer tells her followers about the rare model. Viewers begin to speculate about the young man's identity and his powerful family. The other young woman offers to drive for free, but he refuses, afraid of getting carried away. He hands over the car keys and asks if she knows how to drive a real supercar. The streamer says she was a car blogger and has experience with sports models. She asks if she can do the live broadcast while driving, and he questions her about her behavior. Agreeing, the young man watches as the young woman prepares to drive the protagonist's luxury car. In the car, the streamer is nervous and tells her followers that she needs to concentrate on driving. Our hero sees her username and thinks she is an easy person because of the way she talks. He realizes that her popularity is good, but she doesn't receive many donations from fans. He sees her popularity and realizes that she has few donors and that the biggest donor gave 300 yuan. He calculates that her daily income is only 60 yuan and finds it very little for the effort. The young man says that with 10,000 viewers, she should earn more and that being a driver pays more. She explains that she is not good at asking for donations and that she only drives to show the traffic jams. The young woman then asks why the manager was so attentive to him and let him in without verification. Shocked to learn that he bought the car that same day, the streamer looks at him. The car accelerates, and live viewers thank the young man for showing the difference between them. Arriving at the hotel, she returns the keys, and he praises her for the smooth and comfortable driving. Thanking him for the compliment, the young woman, with a smile on her face, looks at him very suggestively. She asks what kind of live streams he likes to watch, and he replies that it's ones with beautiful women. Offering to receive a boost on the charts, the streamer looks at him with a pleading gaze. Our hero says he doesn't give donations and that he has an account that only watches for free. She then invites him in to drink a glass of water, and he understands her hint. Provoking her, the young man asks what kind of water she has in mind and makes her feel awkward. Turning all red, the streamer thinks that if it were a movie, things would be different. She is speechless and thinks about the two possibilities that could happen at that moment. He refuses the invitation and says the hotel water is not very clean but offers to buy her tea next time. The young woman calls him a jerk and thinks he is being hostile and playing hard to get. She says goodbye and leaves, and the young man notices that her friendship level increased suddenly. Back in the room, he receives a message from his wealthy friend asking to try the hotel's cuisine. The protagonist then asks the butler to prepare dinner for 5 people with the most expensive ingredients. His butler informs him that each fish costs 1 million yuan and asks if he accepts the price. He tells her to use common sense and thinks he doesn't want to look like a tacky nouveau riche. Half an hour later, his friends arrive and are impressed with the expensive dishes on the table. One of the friends comments that the 2 fish could buy a car. They are so extravagant. Explaining, the butler says the fish is one of the most expensive in the world and that they are of moderate size. She also mentions the white truffles and says the whole dinner cost more than 3 million. One of the guests is shocked to learn that with that money, she could buy a mansion. Our hero invites everyone to eat and they thank young Master Jiang for his hospitality. After dinner, they invite him to drink, but he refuses because he already drank with his friend. They then arrange a party for the following night and say goodbye to the host of the evening. His butler informs him that with the discount, the total was 2,098,000. The system congratulates him on using the card, and he receives a refund of 149 million. Shocked by the amount, the young man thinks the dinner was totally worth it in the end. Saying goodbye, the butler leaves, and he returns to his room to relax after dinner with his friends. Lying in bed, he opens the streamer's live stream and notices that she has a high attractiveness score. His system then gifts him 3 million shark fin coins to use on the live stream. He decides to change the name of his main account to Dinghai Shenzhen and make a donation. A new user donates a heart and asks if the streamer is not going out to look for news. Shocked, the young woman sees a level 65 account that she has never seen before. Seeing the high-level account, the streamer is surprised to have never seen it on the platform before. Welcoming the new follower, the streamer says she is not going out because of a mission. He scans the opponent and sees that she has a much lower attractiveness score. The young man finds it strange that the other streamer seems to have 90 with makeup, but only has 69. The opponent brags about being connected with her and says she will definitely move to the next round. Regretting her bad luck, the pink-haired streamer says she needs to win at least 2 rounds. She then greets the opponent and asks her donor to take it easy in the competition. Agreeing, the other young woman tells them to save their strength for the next round of the dispute. His system gives our hero the mission to help the streamer win the PK tournament. Offering to fulfill any request from her new big donor, the young woman asks for his help. He never thought of having a connection with her, but now that he is the #1 donor, everything can change. The streamer asks for donations from her followers, but they refuse to give money and mock her. Viewers complain about her attitude and threaten not to give the free flowers of the day. She defends herself, saying that her viewers are very talented with words and gets irritated. Our hero then decides to start the game and donates 5 weak chickens to the streamer. Thanking him for the donation, the young woman is shocked by the 1 yuan value from the donor. She wonders if she has some kind of anti-streamer sacred body for attracting stingy donors. The dispute begins, and the opponent takes the lead with 300 points against only 20 from the streamer. He then asks if she can be his private driver if he helps her win the war. Suddenly, 3 super rockets appear on the screen, and the streamer is shocked by the donation. She thanks the donor and asks what kind of performance he would like to see on the live stream. Surprised, the opponent sees that a big donor appeared on her rival's live stream. The other streamer invites him to her live stream and makes him a manager so he won't leave. Offering to sing a song for her new donor as a gift, the pink-haired young woman is excited. Our hero finds her voice silly and cute and tells her to do whatever she wants on the live stream. Crying, the opponent asks her donor for help to pass the first round of the tournament. The PK officially begins, and the other streamer thanks her donor for the gift sent. Finding the dispute interesting, the young man decides to post 3 more rockets to liven up the live stream. The streamer shouts to her donor that the other one is catching up, and he sends more gifts. She asks the fans to type that her donor is amazing, and several rockets appear on the screen. Our hero is amused by her innocence and wonders how she will deal with the next one. Suddenly, her live stream freezes and she panics as she sees the cell phone screen frozen. 20 rockets appear all at once, and the streamer is shocked by the massive donation. The opponent asks if her donor is still there, but he doesn't respond and remains silent. Calculating that the donation was 40,000 yuan, the young woman wonders if she won the round. The opponent brags about her luck and says she will dance for him when she is free. The number of live viewers exceeds 10,000, and the streamer is very happy. She thanks the donor and asks what he wants her to do to repay the support. Realizing the camera's beauty filter actually makes her less beautiful, the protagonist observes her. The streamer is afraid that the donor got scared by the beauty filter's failure. She turns off the filter and worries about the critics of the viewers. Viewers praise her beauty and say the boss made the right bet this time. Happy to gain new fans and positive reviews instead of being rejected, the streamer smiles. She implores for his help to win more one round and continue transmitting next month. Beginning the second round of the PK, she is connected with a streamer dressed as Sailor Moon. The opponent introduces herself and comments on the other streamer's list of big donors. She then offers to sing and dance for the donor and guarantees that he will be satisfied. As the two prepare for the battle, the opponent asks her donor not to let her be defeated. The other streamer's donor sends 5 planes, and she thanks him with several hearts on the screen. Our hero finds the donation petty and decides to throw 5 rockets to see the reaction. He then sends the 5 super rockets, and the streamer is shocked by the generous donation. She thanks the donor and sends a heart to the camera while the opponent stares at her. Confused, the other streamer asks about the flowery brother who appeared on the live stream. With the help of our hero, the pink-haired streamer advances to the final round of the tournament. In the finals, she connects with one of the top 3 streamers on the platform and gets nervous. Saying she has no talents, the opponent suggests they start the battle immediately. The streamer discovers that a big donor appeared to help her rival in the guild war. The other young woman then starts dancing for her followers to the sound of an animated song. The camera focuses on her body as she moves sensually in front of the microphone. 2 minutes later, the dance ends, and she sends a kiss to the camera for her fans. Finishing her dance, the streamer sends a kiss to the camera, thanking the viewers. Our hero praises the opponent's dance, and the viewers agree that she is talented. Getting jealous, the pink-haired streamer asks if he will abandon her in the final. Provoking her, the young man says he might consider it if she is talking about group sports. Shocked by the proposal, the 2 streamers see the pink-haired one stare at him speechless. She thinks it is not the time to have wild thoughts and that she needs to ask her donor for help. Imploring for his help, the young woman promises that she will do any dance he wants later. The opponent's donors begin to send several rockets, and the dispute becomes fierce. The streamer thanks one of the donors, and the other viewers are shocked by her audacity. She asks if the hundreds of fire bullets he sent were candles or just air. He thinks he still has 2 million to spend and that he will not lose the match no matter what. The live stream freezes again, and the streamer panics as she sees the screen frozen once more. More 20 super hot rounds appear, and the young woman realizes it's not a connection error. Several rockets are sent to the opponent's live stream, and the dispute between the donors begins. Thinking this is a fight between gods, the pink-haired streamer is just watching. She then thanks the donor's father for the medical expenses and calls him generous. The dispute ends, and the pink-haired streamer wins the final round of the PK tournament. Sighing in relief, the young woman thinks she finally managed to win the donation battle. She looks at the screen and sees that the rockets have stopped arriving, but her team hasn't stopped. Shocked, the streamer sees that she raised 1.5 million on her live stream all at once. The streamer cannot believe that in her entire life she managed to raise 1.5 million yuan. The opponent asks the donor not to stop and to continue sending more presents to her. One of the donors tells her to forget it and talk about it another time, and she gets confused. Our hero sends the last 2 shots as a declaration of victory, and the dispute ends. Celebrating the victory, the pink-haired streamer sees her popularity soar on the platform. She throws herself onto the bed with happiness and can't believe she managed to win the PK tournament. Thanking the donor, the young woman offers to learn whatever he wants to please him. She then asks to be his private driver, and he agrees to hire her for 2 days. Live viewers discover that the donor is the same young man from the auto show. Taking her spare cell phone to add his contact, the streamer is happy with the opportunity. She introduces herself, and he accepts the friend request, and her friendship level rises to 85. His system congratulates him on the victory and rewards him with a cashback of 2,030 million. Confirming the withdrawal, the young man sees the money deposited into his account right away without any problem. He thinks in how outrageous and easy it is to make money with the system and the help of chance. The next day, he wakes up to a message from the streamer offering to be his driver. With a side smile, he finds the girl a little hasty but does not reply to the message. Anxious for the response, the streamer wonders when he will reply to her message. Brushing his teeth, he responds that he needs a driver to go to a party at night. Getting super excited to see the response, the young woman celebrates getting the job. She decides to sleep a little to be in the best condition to serve her new boss. But the streamer is so excited that she cannot sleep and tosses and turns in bed anxiously. He complains that she arrived early, but the young woman says she couldn't let him drive alone. Saying the bar is famous, the streamer notes that several celebrities frequent the place. Girls at the door comment on the handsome young man and his expensive watch that calls attention. The women in line are enchanted by his beauty and think he is a wealthy man. Two girls approach and ask to add his contact and offer to go out. Another young woman appears and offers to show him the place and have fun with him that night. A girl dressed as a bunny loses her balance and falls into our protagonist's arms. She thanks him for the help, and he jokes about her energy even before entering the bar. Two women invite him to their private booth and tell him to go in first and have fun. Observing the scene from afar, the streamer is bothered by the attention he receives. Pushing the crowd, the young woman shouts for the girls to get out of the way and leave him alone. She feels a pang in her chest and realizes she is jealous of the young man with the others. The streamer then opens way in the crowd, yelling for everyone to get out of her way. She holds his hand tightly and pulls him away from the girls who were surrounding him. Surprised, the women ask why he didn't say he already had a girlfriend. Telling them to find another target, the streamer watches as our hero finds the whole situation boring. He hugs her from behind and asks if he really has a girlfriend, and she is surprised. Explaining, the young woman says she only helped him because he couldn't refuse the girl's offers. She thanks him but says she doesn't need his help anymore and that he can do what he wants. Suddenly, a young man recognizes him and asks if he didn't get scared of being surrounded. His friend laughs and asks who the beautiful young woman accompanying him that party night is. Explaining, the protagonist says she is his driver and that they can have fun together at night. Feeling awkward and silent, the streamer endures the young men looking at her with curiosity. They enter the bar and several girls in costume dance and have fun on the dance floor. One of the women calls him Jiang Xiao and invites him to join her at the party. Several girls approach and greet him, calling him by name and surrounding him at the entrance. He thanks them for the warm reception and says the arrangement is perfect for their night. His friend asks the manager to bring 2 sets of big dragons to liven up the party. Shocked to see the dragon, the streamer says she has never seen one up close before. His friend boasts about the generosity and says the dragons do not compare to the fish from dinner. He counts to the girls that the young man treated him with a rare fish and spent 3 million. Shocked to learn the price of the dinner, the women look at him with admiration and astonishment. Several waitresses dressed as bunnies arrive with bottles of wine to serve the 3 of them. They serve the expensive wine into the glasses, and the party starts to get even livelier. One of the girls introduces herself and offers to toast with him and play all night. Shocked by her score of 98, the young man finds her rare and excellent. They toast with the glasses, and the night of party and fun continues at the luxury bar. Observing the scene, the streamer feels the return of jealousy and a sense of being blocked. She gets angry that he is with another woman after spending so much money with her. Approaching, the streamer then offers to toast with him too and looks at him. He offers a drink to the streamer, and she looks at him with a confused and suspicious gaze. Saying she needs to drive, the young woman hears him insist and asks if she is okay to continue. She gets angry and says that if he can't see, she can get closer to look. Thinking that the main target of the night is the streamer, the young man knows the other one can wait. Saying goodbye, the other girl says she will dance a little but will return to toast with him. He provokes her and says it's difficult to see her like that, and that she should return for him to take a look. Remembering that on the live stream, girls must be reserved, the streamer tries to control herself. She gets angry and asks if he thinks she is a casual woman and moves away from him on the sofa. Our hero thinks she is playing hard to get and treats her like one of his followers. He then stands up, and the streamer is confused with the attitude of him and looks at him without understanding. Observing the dancers on the pole, the young man sees 2 of them approach to talk. One of them asks what he thought of the dance and approaches with a seductive smile. The other girl also offers herself, approaching him with a provocative and bold look. He praises the dance and says his brothers applaud the performance of the 2 dancers. One of the young women approaches and says she hasn't met his brother yet and hugs him. He offers to present them later, and the girl gets excited with the proposal. Also saying she really wants to meet his brother, the other dancer moves closer. Our hero says he prefers to stay home watching movies and that where there are women there is war. He sees himself in the middle of a storm and doesn't know for how long his rationality will last. Everyone toasts to the humor of the young master Jiang, and the party continues animated in the luxury bar. Friends toast and have fun together at the party while the girls approach the young man. One of the dancers approaches and offers to toast with the young master Jiang too. Another girl approaches and drinks a sip of wine while looking at him very seductively. She gets irritated that he stopped talking to people and that he closed himself off suddenly. The streamer says she is not casual but that if he really wants her to, she will consider the proposal. She thinks she came prepared to do something, but doesn't know how to say or act at the moment. Our hero realizes that her friendship level reached 90 points and that his plan worked. For the next 2 hours, he drinks and jokes with the two women, ignoring the streamer. He says goodbye to the girls and the friends and says he needs to go away for his engagement. A taxi driver stops in front of them and the young man opens the door for the two to get in. The young women get into the car and he says goodbye with a side smile and closes the door. He then gives a slap on the window and startles the girls who look at him without understanding anything. Paying the driver, the protagonist asks him to take the two young women safely home. The taxi drives away, and the girls scream out the window without understanding what happened there. The dancers call him young master and ask what he is doing on the street. Shocked, the blonde-haired girl is surprised to be put out of the car that way. He then calls the streamer and asks what she is waiting for to drive the car. Half an hour later, he arrives at his room and finds the streamer there waiting for him. She asks to pass the night there because it is very late to take a taxi home. Asking to streamer is looked at by the young man, surprised by her audacity. He questions her about her promise of not being a promiscuous woman and looks at her seriously. The streamer says she was just joking and he suggests she take a taxi home. She refuses to go away and approaches him with a determined and passionate look. Telling her there are many rooms in the hotel, the young man says she can choose one to spend the night. Asking if they can sleep together, the young woman hears him say he is not used to strangers. She wonders if he is being genuine or only pretending disinterest in front of her. Suddenly, she trips and falls on the floor and starts crying in a very dramatic way. The streamer asks if he hates her and why he doesn't want to sleep with her after everything. He thinks that having zero privacy has its disadvantages and that she doesn't understand men. He lifts her from the floor and comforts her, saying for her not to cry and to calm down a little. Our hero then kisses her intensely and the two surrender to the moment of passion. Half a minute later, she opens her mouth and the kiss continues with even more intensity. She declares herself to him and says that she really likes him a lot and holds his hand strongly. Remembering her dream of a Prince Charming, the streamer recalls wanting someone to save her in difficult moments. She says that she likes him for real and the young man hugs her with affection to comfort her. He then picks her up and says he won't expel her anymore and that she can sleep there. Lying down in the bed, the young woman looks at him with a passionate and desirous look. He then hugs her with affection and says that she can sleep there on that night of passion. Picking her up, the young man takes her to bed to spend the night together at the hotel. The streamer lies down in the bed and looks at him with a passionate and desirous look. The two then kiss with passion, and the night begins to heat up between the couple. The bed is blessed by angels while the couple enjoys the night of love and affection. Entering the manager's office, the redhead asks permission to talk about an important subject. Inviting her to sit, the manager asks what she needs to help her at the company. The young woman asks if she knows the young man, and the manager says they met on a trip. The redhead then asks if he plans to hire her, and the blonde confirms the information. Surprised, the young woman asks if the manager is resigning from the talent company. The blonde says she will go to his company, and that she will rescind her contract to hire the redhead. Worrying about the new company, the redhead asks if she trusts the young man that much. The manager says she has 100% faith in him, and that they will be sisters in the new company. Confused by her confidence, the young woman wonders the reason for so much loyalty. An employee warns that the manager has a surprise, that she needs to go down to sign for it. Refusing the presents, the blonde says she doesn't want flowers nor necklaces from anyone now. Insisting, the employee says that it is a car and that it cannot be refused because it has already been paid. Shocked with the news, the two go down to see the unexpected present from the young man. With confetti and a celebration, the delivery of the car is made with all the pomp and circumstance. The saleswoman asks the manager to reveal the present, and everyone looks at her with expectation. The bright pink car appears, and the redhead is open-mouthed at the beauty of the vehicle. She gets envious of the luck of the manager and praises the beauty of the luxury pink car. People comment on her new boyfriend and wish to have one equal that gives cars of 10 million. The saleswoman hands over the keys of the pink car, and the blonde manager receives them with a smile. Asking who sent the car, the young woman hears the employee say that it was Mr. Jiang Cheng. Touched, the manager thinks that no man has treated her that way before. His system congratulates him and says that the inseparable account was unlocked with a new package. Laughing at the reward, the young man wonders who thought of a prize like that in the system. He thinks that the card allows playing with several people, and that the reward can double. Our hero then realizes that he needs to use the card cautiously because satisfaction is important. His system congratulates him on the new company and rewards him with more money and employees. He decides to invest 500 million in the new company to guarantee the 10% annual return. The protagonist then informs the investment details and the name of the new company to the system. The streamer wakes up and the young man asks if he woke her, but she says no and smiles. He thinks about using the new card on her and approaches to test the system's new ability. Our hero decides not to rush and that they can discover the rules next time. An hour later, the streamer asks him not to tip her on her live streams anymore, and he gets irritated. She explains that the platform keeps 70% of the donations and that it's a waste. Spitting out her coffee, the young woman is shocked by the young man's audacity and his lack of shame. She reprimands him for spending so much money on virtual gifts and says her heart hurts. Another woman is shocked to see how rich people spend money on virtual things. The streamer asks if she can continue doing live streams, and he holds her hand with affection. The young woman turns around and asks if she can continue doing live streams, and he holds her hand. He says he trusts her and that she can do any live streams she wants because she is not a streamer with a bad reputation. The young woman then decides to do live streams focused on food and unusual things to see how she fares. Encouraging her, the young man tells her to let him know if any big streamer intimidates her again. He asks the manager if his room rate is expiring, and she confirms that it is until tomorrow. Surprised by the request to extend the stay, the manager questions him about his trip. The streamer alerts him about the high cost of the daily rate and says he can reserve when he needs to. Our hero says that if he were her boss, he wouldn't be happy with the manager's attitude. The woman says that spending almost $5 million on room fees for 2 months is a waste. The streamer wonders why the manager is being so attentive to the young man and is suspicious. Scanning her, the protagonist discovers that she has a status of proximity and high friendship. He is shocked to see that her appearance is 90, her privacy is 0, and her friendship level is 80.